The first technique that you can use to make your muscle building adventure or process, journey, whatever you want to call it, to make it more efficient or get there quicker, is incorporate some paused reps. So when you're doing normal reps, if you're going up and down, that is good, right? You're in the gym in the first place, so that's good. But a lot of people tend to use momentum. So if they're doing pull-ups, um, and it's kind of hard to do it with pull-ups, but rows, for example, or anything with weights, they tend to use momentum to drag the weight back and forward. So if I'm doing rows here, they'll kind of throw the weight forward a bit so that they can come back instead of just coming back and then down. So you basically want to be going up and down, not forward and back. That's just one example. Let's say on the pull-ups, if you want to do a pause rep, so you just pull yourself up, and now instead of coming straight back down and reducing the contraction of your back and taking the muscle out of tension, what you can do is actually hold it at the point where it's maximally contracted. So right now my back is relaxed, but now it's fully contracting. So why not just stop here for 3 seconds? 1, 2, 3. Then come back down. That's a pause rep. You can do it again. 1, 2, 3. What that actually does is as well, you can do it with press ups. When you come down to the bottom, don't rest on the floor, but just pause kind of low into the range of motion. Pause for 3 seconds and back up. What that actually does as well, on top of making the exercise harder, it teaches you how to fire the correct muscles and use these muscles that you're targeting for the purpose of muscle building. So if I'm always doing my pull-ups, just going straight up and down, in a way I am stimulating the muscle, but by pausing at the top, you basically teach your brain or your body to contract your back as hard as possible because you're pausing at the point where the muscle is already contracting as much as possible. Another good way to make it more intense and benefit you more is something that most people actually don't do, which is a bit strange because the fact is that muscle damage occurs most in the negative or the lowering portion of a rep. So for example, in a press up, you push back up. As you come down, that's where the most muscle damage is caused. Or in a bicep curl, when you bring the weight up, as you come down here, that's the moment or the time where the muscle is getting damaged the most. So more or less these are called negative reps or slow negatives. So with a pull up again as an example, you pull up and you come down for 3 to 5 seconds to maximize muscle damage. This is the best way to train. If you're simply going for muscle size, yeah, this is more or less the best way to train. Um, remember that going slow is only good on the negative. If you push the weight up, or if you're pulling yourself up, you're going to be as explosive as possible. You don't want to do that part slowly. So if you're doing this part slowly, it's actually going to hinder you. What you want to do is on this part, be explosive, and then as you come down, count 3, 2, 1. So as you come down, the best amount of seconds is 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, so the last way that you can make your workouts more intense and benefit you for muscle building is what is called a drop set. So a normal set would be when you grab the weight or you do the exercise for a certain number of reps. The reps are basically just standard reps. You finish the set, you rest, and then you go on to the next set. A drop set though, this is where it cuts it off. It's a bit different. So instead of just finishing your set, so let's say I do 10 sets of chest press, I'll rest, I'll do it again. Instead of doing that, you do a drop set. So a drop set is basically where you go from one exercise that's harder to another exercise that's easier, back to back without rest in between. So in a gym, it's very easy to do this. All you do is, for example, again on the chest press example, you put the stack quite low, you put it on 70 or 80, for example, just any random number is what I'm using for an example. You put it on something challenging, 70, 80, you do your reps, and immediately Without rest, you take the pin, you put it to 40, and you half the weight, and you do as many reps of that as you can. What that is really good for is intensity, stimulating your muscle to get a really good pump as well, because you're giving it very little amount of time to rest. I just want to show an example here. So for anyone that likes calisthenics more, you can do clap press ups. Let's say I can only do 3, then immediately I'll go into regular press ups. That's one example of a drop set. Another example, maybe if there's any ladies or women watching this who want to do squats and build their legs. So what you can do is a jump squat. So similar to a clap press up, where you're doing something explosive and then going into something a bit less explosive. So jump squat. Let me just take this. So jump squat. And immediately followed by just a standard squat up and down. Give this a try. Let me know how it goes.